They never found the taxi. They found only a suitcase and a voice recording that ended 43 seconds before she disappeared. Wrong choice.
The police never found the taxi. They found the passenger's suitcase lying on the shoulder of an empty highway nearly 50 miles outside the city. They found a cracked phone buried in wet grass beside the road. They even recovered a voice recording that stopped exactly 43 seconds before the signal disappeared forever. But the driver vanished without leaving behind a single fingerprint, a single strand of hair, or even a license plate that investigators could trace. For almost 2 years, detectives believed they were chasing a ghost. Then another passenger survived. This is the story of what happened that night. October 18th, 2022. The rain had been falling over Chicago since late afternoon, covering the streets in reflections of red brake lights and glowing storefronts. It was the kind of cold rain that soaked through a jacket within minutes and made every stranger look suspicious beneath an umbrella. Emily Carter stepped out of Terminal 3 at O'Hare International Airport with a rolling suitcase in one hand and her phone in the other. She was 29 years old, a freelance photographer from Seattle, and this was supposed to be a simple business trip. 3 days, 2 hotel bookings, a corporate event, then home. She checked her phone. 4%. The battery icon had turned red nearly an hour earlier. She sighed. Her flight had landed almost 40 minutes late, and because of the delay, she had missed the last airport shuttle to her hotel. Perfect, she whispered to herself. She opened a ride-sharing app. No drivers. She refreshed. Still nothing. Heavy rain. High demand. Estimated wait. 38 minutes. Emily looked around the pickup area. Most travelers had already left. A few taxis remained under the yellow lights near the curb. One of them slowly rolled forward, the driver's window lowered. "You need a ride?" The man's voice was calm. Not friendly, just calm. Emily hesitated. The taxi looked older than the others. Its paint was faded. The company logo on the side had almost peeled away. The driver appeared to be in his late 50s. Gray hair, dark jacket, leather gloves. Even though it wasn't that cold. "I only take cash," he said. Emily checked her wallet. She had more than enough. It wasn't ideal, but standing in the rain for another 40 minutes didn't sound much better. She leaned toward the window. "Can you take me to the Westmont Hotel?" The driver nodded immediately. "I know exactly where it is." Something about his answer felt rehearsed. Too quick. Still, Emily climbed into the back seat. The moment the door closed, she noticed something strange. There were no driver identification cards, no taxi license, no company information anywhere inside the vehicle. Only an old wooden rosary hanging from the rearview mirror. The driver pulled away from the curb without another word. For several minutes, neither of them spoke. Rain struck the windshield. The wipers moved back and forth with perfect rhythm. Emily plugged her dying phone into a portable battery. Nothing happened. The battery pack was dead. She smiled nervously. Of course it was. She pressed the power button anyway. 3%. She quickly texted her mother. Asterisk landed safely. Heading to the hotel now. Asterisk. Message sent. 2%. She looked outside. Something wasn't right. The highway signs didn't look familiar. She had visited Chicago before. This wasn't the direction she remembered. She leaned forward. "Excuse me." The driver didn't answer. "I think we're going the wrong way." Still silence. He continued driving. Emily forced a laugh. "Google Maps says we should have exited back there." The driver finally spoke. Without turning around. "Road construction." His voice sounded exactly the same. Flat. Emotionless. "I know another route." Emily opened maps again. No signal. She frowned. That didn't make sense. The airport was only 15 minutes behind them. She should still have service. She held the phone against the window. 1 bar. Then nothing. Outside, the city lights had disappeared. Only trees, darkness, rain, an empty road. Emily looked into the rearview mirror. The driver's eyes met hers for just a second. He smiled, not warmly, not politely, just enough to make her stomach tighten. She suddenly remembered something her father had once told her. Asterisk, if a stranger makes you uncomfortable, trust the feeling before you understand it. Asterisk. She reached for the door handle. Locked. She tried again. Still locked. Could you unlock the door? No answer. I'm serious. Nothing. The taxi continued deeper into the darkness. Emily's heartbeat began to rise. She quietly opened the emergency call screen on her phone. 1%. No service. The screen went black. Her reflection stared back at her. The driver chuckled softly. You won't need that where we're going. Emily froze. What did you say? I said. He looked at her again through the mirror. The signal disappears out here. He smiled once more. This time, he showed his teeth. Emily kept her hand on the locked door handle. She didn't pull it again. There was no point. The sound of the lock clicking only moments earlier had answered every question she was too afraid to ask. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a driver taking a shortcut. Something was terribly wrong. She forced herself to breathe slowly. Panic would only make her think less clearly. The driver continued along the empty highway without saying a word. His hands rested calmly on the steering wheel, gloved fingers barely moving as the windshield wipers swept rain from the glass in a slow, hypnotic rhythm. Left, right, left, right. Emily looked outside again. The road had become narrower. There were no gas stations, no traffic, no houses, only endless trees disappearing into darkness. She quietly slipped her hand into her jacket pocket. Her phone was dead. She remembered the small camera she always carried for work. It was still inside her backpack. The battery was almost full. She slowly reached toward the bag on the seat beside her, trying not to attract attention. The driver's eyes lifted toward the rearview mirror. I wouldn't do that. His voice was calm, almost polite. Emily froze. I just need my charger. You don't. Silence returned. How had he known what she was reaching for? Her backpack hadn't made a sound. She slowly pulled her hand away. The taxi continued deeper into the darkness. Minutes passed, or maybe longer. Time felt strange inside the car. Emily suddenly noticed something odd. The digital clock on the dashboard hadn't changed. It still read 11:42 p.m. She looked at her watch. 11:58. She looked back. Still 11:42. A small detail, but details mattered. She had built her career by noticing details other people ignored. Then she noticed something even stranger. The fuel gauge hadn't moved either. No matter how long they drove, everything inside the taxi looked frozen, except the driver. In the rain, Emily leaned slightly toward the window. A faded road sign flashed past. She only caught part of the name, Blackwood Road. She had never heard of it. The driver spoke again. You travel alone often? Emily didn't answer. I asked you something. She looked at the back of his head. Sometimes. It's dangerous. I know. No. He smiled faintly. You don't. A few miles away, Officer Daniel Brooks sat inside his patrol SUV, finishing paperwork before the end of his shift. The radio crackled. A dispatcher reported an abandoned vehicle blocking part of a rural intersection. Nothing unusual. Daniel started the engine. As he drove, another call interrupted. Any units near Route 16? The dispatcher hesitated. We've received multiple reports of an unregistered yellow taxi driving without headlights. Daniel frowned. Without headlights? Affirmative. But witnesses disagree about the driver. What do you mean? Some describe an older man. Others say the taxi appeared empty. Static interrupted the transmission. Then silence. Daniel looked at the rain-covered road ahead. Something about the call bothered him. He couldn't explain why. Inside the taxi, Emily quietly loosened the silver necklace around her neck. A tiny emergency whistle hung beneath the pendant. Her father had insisted she carry it after college. She had laughed when he gave it to her. Now, it suddenly seemed like the smartest gift anyone had ever given her. Without warning, the taxi slowed. Not completely, just enough. The driver turned onto a narrow gravel road hidden between dense trees. Emily's heart pounded. This isn't the hotel. The driver didn't answer. She raised her voice. Stop the car. Nothing. The gravel crunched beneath the tires. Branches scraped across both sides of the taxi. The forest closed around them. There was almost no moonlight left. Only darkness. Then the taxi stopped. Complete silence. The engine remained running. The driver didn't move. Neither did Emily. Several seconds passed. Finally, he spoke. Get out. Emily stared at him. What? I said. He slowly turned his head. Get out. She looked through the windows. Nothing. No buildings. No lights. No road signs. Only trees. She reached for the whistle around her neck. The driver noticed. For the first time, his expression changed. Not anger. Recognition. You still carry one. Emily frowned. What? He looked directly into her eyes. I remember your father carrying the same whistle. Emily's blood ran cold. She had never mentioned her father. Not once. Emily couldn't breathe. The driver's words echoed inside her head. Asterisk. I remember your father carrying the same whistle. Asterisk. For a long moment, neither of them moved. The rain continued tapping against the roof of the taxi while the engine idled quietly, almost as if the car itself were waiting for her next decision. Emily forced herself to speak. Who are you? The old man smiled, but there was no warmth in it. It doesn't matter anymore. It matters to me. You'll understand soon enough. Emily tightened her grip around the tiny whistle hanging from her necklace. My father died 6 years ago, so that's what they told you. Those words hit harder than anything else he had said. Emily stared at him. What do you mean? The driver slowly looked back toward the windshield. I mean, not every missing person is dead. A cold wave ran through her body. Her father had disappeared during a solo fishing trip in northern Wisconsin. The police searched the lake for weeks before calling off the investigation. No body was ever recovered. Only his truck had been found. Emily had spent years trying to accept that. Now a complete stranger was suggesting otherwise. No. She whispered. You're lying. The driver said nothing. Instead, he reached into the glove compartment and removed an old leather wallet. He tossed it onto the back seat. It landed beside Emily. She hesitated before opening it. Inside, there was an old driver's license, a faded photograph, and underneath it, another photograph. Emily's hands began shaking. It showed her father, standing beside the very same yellow taxi, much younger, smiling. The date printed on the corner read, August 14th, 1998. Emily felt the air leave her lungs. She couldn't finish the sentence. The driver continued staring through the windshield. He drove with me once. Emily looked back at the photograph. My father never worked as a taxi driver. I never said he did. Silence. Rain. Darkness. Emily realized something. The taxi itself, it looked older than 20 years. Far older. The cracked dashboard. The worn leather seats. The faded paint. Almost nothing had been replaced. It was as if the car had been frozen in time. Then, a bright light appeared between the trees. Headlights. Someone was coming. Emily's heart jumped. Another vehicle. The driver noticed it too. His calm expression disappeared for the first time. "Stay inside." He opened his door and stepped into the rain. Emily didn't wait. She grabbed her backpack, threw open the opposite door, and ran. Cold air hit her face. Mud splashed beneath her shoes as she sprinted toward the distant headlights. Behind her, the driver shouted, not angrily, desperately, "Emily!" She didn't stop. Branches struck her arms. Wet leaves slapped across her face. The lights grew closer. A police SUV. Emily screamed with every bit of strength she had left. "Help!" The SUV stopped. Officer Daniel Brooks jumped out. His flashlight swept across the trees until it landed on Emily. She collapsed onto the muddy road. Daniel rushed toward her. "Easy. You're safe." Emily pointed back toward the taxi. "The driver. He's back there." Daniel raised his flashlight. The gravel road was empty. No taxi. No tire tracks. Nothing. Emily stared in disbelief. "That's impossible." She looked down. Only seconds earlier she had run straight from the taxi. There should have been fresh tracks in the mud. There were none. Daniel helped her to her feet. "Tell me exactly what happened." Emily looked around. The forest had become unnaturally quiet. No insects. No birds. Only rain. She reached into her pocket. The old photograph. Still there. She handed it to Daniel. "I found this inside his wallet." Daniel studied it. His face slowly changed. "Where did you get this?" "The taxi." Daniel looked at the picture again. His expression turned pale. "I've seen this before." Emily frowned. "What?" Daniel swallowed. "This photograph has been sitting inside an evidence box at the sheriff's office." He looked back at her. "For almost 24 years. Emily felt her knees weaken. "What are you talking about?" Daniel's voice dropped almost to a whisper. "The yellow taxi disappeared in 1998. He looked toward the dark forest. And so did its driver. Emily slowly turned toward the trees. Far in the distance, between the rain, she thought she saw two headlights, watching them. Then, they vanished. The headlights were gone. Emily stood frozen, staring into the darkness where she had seen them only seconds before. Officer Daniel Brooks gently lowered her arm. "Come on," he said. "We need to get you somewhere safe." Emily looked at the photograph again. The yellow taxi. Her father. The same driver. Nothing about it made sense. Daniel opened the passenger door of his patrol SUV. Before getting inside, Emily turned one last time toward the forest. She couldn't explain why, but she felt someone watching, not from the trees, from somewhere much closer. 2 hours later, inside the sheriff's office, Detective Laura Bennett spread dozens of old case files across a conference table. Every missing person report looked strangely familiar. Business travelers, college students, tourists, people arriving late at airports, people traveling alone, people who had taken taxis. Laura pointed to a map. Red pins covered nearly 30 years of disappearances. Every route began near an airport. Every victim had disappeared during bad weather. And every investigation had eventually reached the same conclusion. No suspect. No vehicle. No body. Emily slowly looked up. "How many?" Laura hesitated. "Officially?" She closed the file. 23. Daniel shook his head. "No." Laura looked at him. "We both know it wasn't 23. Silence filled the room. Finally, Daniel spoke. "My father investigated the first disappearance." Emily looked at him. "He spent 15 years chasing one yellow taxi. He died believing the driver never acted alone." Laura opened another evidence box. Inside, there were wallets, old hotel key cards, broken phones, airline boarding passes. Every item belonged to someone who had vanished. Then she placed one final object on the table, a leather notebook. Emily immediately recognized it. It belonged to her father. Her hands trembled as she opened it. The last pages had been written only hours before his disappearance. Most of the notes described airports, taxi stands, license plate numbers, witness interviews. Then, the final sentence, written in shaky handwriting. The driver isn't choosing random passengers. He's collecting people connected to one accident. Emily stared at the page. What accident? Laura quietly opened another file. Inside was a newspaper from 1998. The headline read, "Airport Shuttle Crash Kills 11." Daniel pointed to the photograph beneath it. A damaged shuttle bus. Emergency crews. Rain. Emily noticed something. Standing behind the police tape, a yellow taxi. Almost hidden. Laura nodded. That accident changed everything. The taxi driver lost his wife and daughter that night. The drunk driver who caused the crash walked away with minor injuries. Emily frowned. So he started kidnapping innocent people? Laura slowly shook her head. Not innocent. She slid another document across the table. Passenger lists, old court records, insurance files. The victims all shared one thing. Each of them was directly connected to someone responsible for covering up the crash. Lawyers, witnesses, insurance investigators, police officers, journalists, even Emily's father. He wasn't involved, Emily whispered. No, Laura replied. He discovered the truth. He found the driver's identity, and someone made sure he never exposed it. Emily looked up. What do you mean, someone? Before Laura could answer, the lights inside the sheriff's office suddenly went out. Darkness. Emergency backup lights slowly flickered on. Daniel reached for his flashlight. A radio somewhere inside the building crackled to life. Static. Then, a calm male voice. The same voice Emily had heard inside the taxi. You were looking for the wrong man. Silence. Laura looked toward Daniel. Daniel wasn't moving. Emily noticed something strange. His face had changed. Not fear. Guilt. Laura slowly stepped backward. Daniel, his hand moved toward his service weapon. Emily's heart raced. Laura whispered, "Tell her." Daniel closed his eyes. My father never lost the investigation. He buried it. Emily felt the room spinning. What? Daniel finally looked at her. The taxi driver wasn't the only criminal. There were people protecting him. Powerful people. They needed the disappearances to stop anyone from uncovering what really happened after the crash. Emily couldn't believe what she was hearing. So my father. Daniel nodded. He got too close. They silenced him. Laura quietly placed another photograph on the table. Emily gasped. It showed her father. Alive. Handcuffed. Being escorted into an unmarked vehicle. The photograph had been taken 3 days after everyone believed he had disappeared. Tears filled Emily's eyes. He was alive. Laura nodded. For a while, Emily looked toward Daniel. Who killed him? Daniel didn't answer, because he didn't have to. The silence said everything. Outside, police sirens echoed in the distance. More units were arriving. Laura stepped toward Emily. You need to leave. What about you? They're coming for the files. Daniel suddenly shouted. Now! Laura grabbed the notebook and shoved it into Emily's backpack. Run! Emily sprinted through the emergency exit. Cold rain hit her face once again. Behind her, gunshots echoed inside the sheriff's office. One, then another. She didn't look back. 6 months later, the official investigation was reopened. Several retired officials were arrested. Hidden evidence connected multiple disappearances over nearly 3 decades. The yellow taxi was never found. Neither was its driver. Some investigators believe he died years ago. Others believe he simply changed his identity. No one knows for certain. Emily never returned to Chicago. But every year, on October 18th, At exactly 11:42 p.m., her phone receives a call. The caller ID is always the same: unknown taxi. She has never answered it. But 1 year, the call lasted long enough for voicemail to activate. The recording contains only 6 words. A calm man's voice says, "I'm still taking the long way home.